On the matter of training left-handed, or if you're left-handed, training right-handed on your non-dominant side, right? I'm astounded that people are astounded that we do this. Well, here's why. When I was just an egg and started studying martial arts, karate in particular, we did everything on both sides. Throw 100 punches with your right hand, switch stance, throw 100 punches with your left hand, 100 kicks on your left side, 100 kicks on your right side, blah, 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 blah. Everything was bisymmetrical. We never did anything just on one side. Right? So I had that sort of as a habit. And at some point it dawned on me that this would be a good idea to do with my students. Duh. I'm a little bit slow sometimes. But also I have some personal experience, in particular with fencing, in this application. When I was at the academy, one of the things I would do, because when I went to the academy, there were a number of fencers on the Cornell team who were really very good. And one in particular could whip me like a dog at any time we crossed blades. And I didn't care for that. So it was my goal to give him a run for his money. And I started training with that in mind. And one of the things I did, playing a card out of my old martial arts experience, was to start training bisymmetrically. That is, I set up the fencing dummy, and I would do sets of 10 thrusts with the right hand, 10 thrusts with the left hand, 10 thrust and lunge with the right hand, 10 thrust and lunge with the left hand, 10 parry-cart straight repose with the right hand, 10 parry-cart straight repose with the left hand. And I'd work through my basic technique with a weapon in each hand, my murky Spanish music playing in the background at 6 o'clock in the morning, sneak in there, leave the lights off, just a dim bulb enough so I could see, get this moody, crazy, and just hammer the hell out of this fencing dummy. Left-handed, right-handed, left-handed, right-handed, left-handed, right-handed. One time I was running a little late, I guess, or maybe I just practiced extra long, I don't know. But sometimes in the morning, some of the kids would come in and grab a lesson in the morning because they couldn't come for their lessons at noon because they're a class schedule or something like that. So 2, 3, 4 kids would come in and have a lesson early in the morning. And I remember one day I was practicing and I must have run late because a couple of kids had come in for their individual lessons in the morning. And instead of the usual boisterous entry into the salle and all that other stuff, apparently they just came in, saw me doing this completely insane shit, stripped to the waist, bathed in sweat, hammering this fucking fencing dummy to the tune of all this murky Spanish, and they just came in and sat on the bench by the door and didn't make a sound, didn't say a word. I think I might have scared them a little. Anyway, just a funny thing. So training on both sides has a number of good things about it. Number one is you avoid imbalances in your body. I had a pal who shall remain unnamed, but his initials are Bucky Leach, and we measured his thigh one time, and his right thigh was fully an inch or more bigger around than his left thigh. He was a right-handed guy, never worked on his left side. Now, over time, if you're going to be an old swordsman, if you train on one side and have those imbalances, sooner or later, you're going to pay a price for that in terms of osteoporosis or imbalances or, pulling your spine out of line or just all kinds of, chiropractic issues that you could avoid if you just have balanced musculature on both sides. So there's a consideration. Training with your left hand. Well, it's possible that you're fencing and you hurt your right hand. You sprain your wrist. Yeah, I've seen it happen. You have to really screw up to do it, but it can happen. What do you do now? Quit? Well, you fence with your left hand. That's not so likely to happen. But what is quite likely, and we've had this happen with a number of students, half a dozen times anyway, is somebody have an injury to their right side. Completely has nothing to do with fencing, but they get a shoulder injury or a leg injury or something. And then they say, oh, I can't fence. Well, yes, you can. You can come and fence on your left side. While your right side's healing up, you fence on your left side. So it means that you never have to stop training. And that's a good thing. There's something else. And I started thinking about this. My horse taught me this. That horses, the way their brain works and the way their eyes work, a horse encounters an obstacle on his right-hand side. If you turn around and come the other way and he encounters that obstacle on his left-hand side, as far as he's concerned, that's a whole new obstacle. Never seen it before. How the hell did that get there? Right? And so if you're going to desensitize your horse to a particular thing, which is not always a good thing to do, but sometimes you have to do it, you need to do it on both sides. Because just doing it on one side isn't gonna make him comfortable with it. He has to get intimately familiar with it from both points of view, right? So I started thinking about that in terms of my students too, and about my own practice on the dummy in the way back when, because when I started working with my left hand regularly, I got really good with my right hand. Much better, much faster, than, in my opinion, than I ever got just working with my right hand alone. Now that's a highly subjective assessment, I'll grant you that. But it feels like it's true. And I think there's something about the way your brain integrates things. That training on your weak side really helps you improve on your strong side. Now we know there's some cross-training effect, because I had a fellow who was a skier and broke a leg skiing. And while his leg was in the cast, his doctor, smart guy, said, work the hell out of your good leg, and it'll minimize the atrophy in your injured leg because of the cross-training effect. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, number of good reasons why to train ambidextrously. Here's one that is obvious to me, but may not be obvious to you. Looking at it from a teaching point of view, quite often, not always, but quite often, when you find that it is very difficult to do something on your left-hand side, the errors you make on your left-hand side are characteristic of the errors you're also making on your right-hand side. But they're bigger and more obvious. So sometimes as a diagnostic tool, I can see what somebody's doing on their weak side, and that helps give me some insights into the difficulties they're having on their right side, which sometimes may be so subtle that I miss them. It's possible. Right? So by observing them both ways, I think, I get a better understanding of how they're conceiving of this and how they're executing it. And then I'm able to, structure things in a way that helps them improve better. Right? So it may look odd, may feel odd, may look cool, but there's a reason for everything we do. If we don't have a reason, I don't do it.